everybody, and welcome. And today I am chatting to Verity, and she's going to be sharing with us what has been her biggest challenge, how she's overcome that, and how that impacts on what she does today. Welcome.
Hi, thanks, Bridget. Thanks so much for having me. Lovely to be with you. The big question, what's been my biggest challenge? There's been quite a few. But if I have to kind of speak from the heart, I think my biggest challenge in life has been to get past my own limitations. I'm someone with big dreams. I've always, as a child, I wanted to be an actress. I wanted to go to Hollywood. I wanted to win Oscars. And then when I had to go do my first audition at school and realized how hard it was and that I wasn't always going to make it, I just gave up. And I became the kid that sat at the back of auditions watching other people stand up and take a chance. And it got so bad that I started suffering from debilitating stage fright. I would avoid anything that put me in front of people. And that got challenging when I was at UCT and I was studying psychology. I started songwriting. I said, what do I do with this? Because this involves getting past myself, standing in front of people and singing. And again, I kept putting it off because I was afraid of failure. I was afraid of rejection. And it took my dad dying very unexpectedly when I was 24 to make me go, you know what, life is short. And if I don't take a chance, if I don't get out there, I'm going to get to the end of my life, however long that is, with a long list of things I wanted to do that I never did. And that gave me the courage to start. I went and I walked the Camino in Spain in memory of my dad. And that was an incredible physical experience to take one step at a time towards a destination, have blisters, get lost, get tired, but keep going. And that became the thing that fueled me to have the courage to start singing and have the courage to, start a music career. But I kept hitting up against this part of myself that feels like life is hard and where's the shortcut and why is it taking so long? And I became a victim. And that's a great story. You can tell that story for a long time. In fact, I became addicted to complaining about how hard my life was. And people didn't want to be around me anymore because, it was a very true story. Music industry is hard. People aren't supporting South African musicians. But again, I hit that point of something's got to change, something's got to shift. And the life-changing thing that happened for me was a coffee with my sister, where I was moaning about the music industry again. And she was like, come on, let's think differently. Let's change our mindsets. And we started brainstorming, how do I get ahead in this industry? I was trying to record an album. I didn't have the money. How do I do this? And just stopping, and this is for me very important, is you can't solve your problems on your own. You need to have someone you trust, whether it's one person or a group of people, get together, sit down and go, how do I move forward? Because at the moment, I'm just looking at my roadblock and I'm not looking for ways around it. And it was a half-an-hour brainstorming session where we landed on an idea that I would ask people to buy my album before I recorded it, which was in 2005. So it was pre-crowdfunding. And luckily that idea, it excited me as much as walking to Santiago in Spain excited me. I was prepared to get up and deal with the blisters and the sore knees in order to see if I could do that. And we ended up selling 2,000 copies of nothing in 25 countries. We gave 10% to charity. And I kind of got catapulted, instead of becoming a famous singer, which was the plan, I got catapulted into helping other people think differently about their obstacles. But what I've realized is it always starts here. It doesn't matter, you think the obstacle's out there, but it actually is in here, because someone else will look at, I don't have money, and they'll find a way around it. Whereas for another person, that can be years of just sitting back going, I'm a victim, I can't do this. And so for me, every time I've made a big life shift, it's been when I've stopped and I've looked at, how am I thinking about this? How is my perception getting in the way of my direction and of my kind of moving forward? And yeah, so that was a life-changing moment for me. It certainly hasn't changed the fact that there's that part of me that loves to moan. And especially like we've had COVID, it was very easy. I could start thinking, oh, things are hard, this is difficult. But I've discovered that I've got this ability to step back and try and think about something a little bit differently, find a new perspective. And it has to be something that excites me, because once the energy's up, then I've got the kind of the forward motion to start taking action. So it's, yeah, I'm not sure if I've answered your question. It's really been an amazing journey. Yeah.
Very much, because you definitely went through that, and I think so many people do, to realize actually it's up to you, and then to stand in that, to do the physical journey, because that's very significant, and then to work in a space where you are now sharing that with other people, of saying there is always a solution, and you are your own worst enemy, and if you want to change it, you can change it. And I think because you've done it and you've walked it, literally, you can share that with other people. And that for me is the value of having real conversations with real people. It's about saying, it doesn't matter how people are perceived. It doesn't matter how well they've done. They've always got an amazing story to tell, and they've walked an incredible journey, and yeah, so thank you. That was incredibly insightful, and thank you for that. And I think it's very inspiring for other people who are in that space of woe is me, so thank you very much.
I always say to people, life is either something that happens to you or happens because of you, and it's a mindset change that you have to make. We can be victims or victors, and life is hard. We don't have control over our external circumstances a lot of the time. But what fascinates me is that positive psychology is showing definitively that only 10% of our happiness comes from our external circumstances. Yeah. So 50% is our genetics, which we don't have control over, but 40% is the choices we make every day. And when we start thinking differently about life, when we start making different choices, healthy choices, happy choices, that gives us the energy to fuel our journey forward. So it really is, it comes down to, if that victim voice starts rearing its head, which it does when life gets hard, it's going, actually in my control right now are the thoughts I'm thinking and the choices I'm making. And every time I remember that, my life gets easier, it gets better. So I know it works, but it's a matter of reminding yourself, and I think surrounding yourself and having, as you say, real conversations with real people. Have that circle of friends that you can go and talk to, that are going to get you also real, and tell you if you're moaning and look, you're doing that thing again. My sister's that person for me, and I'm so grateful to her, because I know she'll call me to a higher standard, and then that gives me momentum to keep moving.